we'd been hearing earlier this evening that there was a debate in the Haley campaign about whether to stay in or get out. We now know that she's staying in. And I'm told it's not just sort of tonight's speech in the spur of the moment. A senior person on the campaign said to me, of course she's staying in. And the way they see it is that there are now 2 states where Trump barely got half the vote. They think that's weak for an incumbent. But as we've said over and over, a win is a win. She has not been doing well in South Carolina. But here's something that I think was key from her speech. She said that he should have no trouble standing on a debate stage with her. I think you are going to hear this over and over again. Nikki Haley is going to be saying to Donald Trump, why are you scared to debate me? Anderson?
Jamie, thanks very much. Back with the team here in New York. Does that work?
In what position is she to make demands of the person who just defeated her in 2 straight states? I mean, Trump's strategy of staying out of these debates has proven to be smart, obviously. Is he really going to change course on that? He's not scrambling for attention.
There's not a groundswell of people saying we want to hear a debate between those 2. I mean, look,
well, yeah, there is. They're called Democrats.
Well, no, and the reality, again, is the GOP is Trump's party. He has actually put in place, since 2016, he has been working to have the systems in place to most favor him in the election ahead. So even with her, I think she has maybe more confidence than she should in South Carolina because she was a popular 2-term governor, but that was many years ago. It's a very different state now. I think she's hoping to outperform there, but she is going to feel the weight of the world of pressure from her elected Republicans saying, get out of the way, it needs to be Donald Trump. What she's going to be weighing right now is there's a very real chance he's convicted in the middle of this general election cycle. If she bows out and supports him, she could be the person that the party then comes around and turns to replace him.
The calendar here is also going to kill her, right? Because the South Carolina primary is not until February 24th. So, tonight is probably the night where she has the most momentum behind her. And that is only, to the point that Van was making, that you're making, Alyssa. I mean, that is only going to wane over the course of the next month as additional Republicans come out and endorse Trump, as, her donors dry up. I mean, there's essentially nothing between now and the 24th, which is part of why you hear her saying he should stand on a debate stage with me.
It feels like the death spiral that we've seen.
Is she going to be able to raise more money over the course of a month?
I'm not convinced the money runs out, but I don't think it's going to be traditional Republican donors.
The money may not run out, but let me just, again, stress to you all, the Republican voters have run out. They've run out of patience for this. She says things that are objectively true about Trump's, electoral history and so on and so forth. They don't care. He won electability voters. He's won immigration voters, which is the top issue in the party. And they believe Biden's going to lose to any of it, and they want to lose with the person that gives them the most dopamine when it happens.
So, the idea that Trump. Well, go ahead, Van. Make your point.
I do see it somewhat differently just with regard to the debate. I do think that he looks weak. Basically, there's a woman that says, I want to get you, I want to debate with you, and he looks weak running from one person. Saying, look, I don't want to be involved in the big circles with a bunch of nobodies. I don't know that doesn't wind up giving her a little bit more to say. And to your point, she does not have a landing field out there anywhere past where she is right now, and it could create. So I don't want to. I think you're going to hear that. And I think it may work better than we think. But go ahead, David.
Yeah, no, I'm not. The reason the debate strategy worked, and I agree, I think it was very, very smart of him, was because there were a bunch of people on the stage who attacked each other. So they were doing his work for them, and they diminished each other. It doesn't work the same way if she steps.
She's saying, "Hey, why are you scared of?" Yeah, whatever.
On a stage.
I'll just remind you guys: the last one-on-one debate she got involved in was against DeSantis in Des Moines. We were there, and it hurt her. I mean, I think he hurt her that night and caused her to come in third.
Yeah,
Not
I
for
agree with
nothing,
that.
though. I mean, she is, as we speak, causing Donald Trump to spiral. He's been rage-truthing out against her, saying she's, turned out Democratic voters. She gets under his skin. She is the most credible challenger that he's had since 2016. The problem that she's going to face is elected Republicans who are not Donald Trump saying, listen, you're helping Biden at this point. I don't agree with that, but that's what she's going to do.
It's not just Trump's skin she's getting under. Her numbers among Republicans Republicans, like her favorability among Republicans. When you say, well, she could be there and she could be the candidate, she is making herself unacceptable to Republicans because they worship at the altar of
well,
Donald
the more you
Trump.
disrespect Trump, the less kind
Yes.
of enamored people are with you. And Kate, I really liked your point, though, about how much time there is between now and the next one, because that is when the donors sit down and say, you know, it's been a couple of weeks. The other thing is, who's going to campaign with her? You know, other than Chris Sununu, like the best hype man outside of hip hop, like who is the person who's going to stand next to her over the next couple of weeks? That number is getting
The
smaller.
other dynamic I would expect is the Biden campaign is also going to engage Trump. The Biden campaign is going to start moving into their general election mode and is going to try to make the narrative about Trump versus Biden, and that has a psychological impact.
Should point out, the former president is 10 points ahead of Nikki Haley right now in New Hampshire as we continue to count all the votes.